All right, folks, what's going on? Welcome back inside the Janitor's Closet. My name is Bryce Hunt, joined as always by our football expert here at TJC, Josh Fry, Sam, JFS, bringing you the good football content. We're continuing our fantasy football week here, getting folks ready for their drafts, getting dialed in here at the top 10 lists for the season's end. Top 10 lists from Josh Frey-Sam by position. Today we are looking at the running back position. Really dominated the fantasy football landscape since the dawn of time, really. And this has been a very, very interesting position over the years with how many injuries we've had, how much turnover there's been at the position. It's kind of been tier one has really stolen the show the last couple of years. You have a little bit of a gap, and then you have a lot of value the further down you go. Josh, this is another interesting year for the position. Pretty strong up top again. Some returning names, some new names. What do you think about the position as a whole here?
Yeah, this is a good one, man. I mean, like this kind of similar to the wide receivers. I mean, there's a lot to love here, and and you mentioned it, a lot of value here as well. So like we're gonna dive into that a little bit, but there's it's really interesting because you can either go with the some people call it the hero RB, draft kind of strategy where you just get one of the big guns at the top and then you kind of like stack up the wide receivers, or you could maybe hold off a little bit. That seems like you can hold off a bit, and there's always value to be found at the running back position as you go later in the draft. So there's always guys who are being drafted outside of the top 24 running backs and who like almost always finished inside like the top 15, you know what I mean? And so it's just kind of like always value to be found at the running back position, and this year's no different. It's just it feels like there's a lot of heavy hitters in this year's draft, makes it so much fun. So we'll get into that.
All right, folks, and before we get into the list, if you want to do us a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below.
Yeah.
If you're enjoying this fantasy football content, tons more football on the way. We're still dealing with the dog days of baseball. We'll get through them, and this thing is going to start off pretty soon. Well, let's get to the top 10 running backs, Josh. Let's start here at number 10.
Yeah, we're gonna go to Kansas City here with Isaiah Pacheco, maybe a name that a lot of people maybe are fans of. Isaiah, obviously, he gets made fun of a lot for his running style, so he gets a lot of I guess press in that way. But this guy, I think, is going to finish. He's going to sneak into the top 10 by season's end. RB 17 last year, being drafted a wide receiver 12. You want to talk about a little bit of value to be found in the draft? Right here, this guy I think is going to finish 2 slots above his draft position here, and he's going to be a rock solid piece for anybody who drafts him this season. You want good players in good offenses, and Isaiah Pacheco is that. And at that, he's also going to get more of a workhorse role this season, be more of that bell cow for the Kansas City Chiefs. He had 9 touchdowns a year ago and came just short of 1,000 yards. I think both of those numbers get a bump up this year in what is expected to be another offense, obviously led by Patrick Mahomes through the air, and obviously having a nice air attack. But I think Isaiah Pacheco is going to do even more damage on the ground this year. So Isaiah Pacheco at number 10 here, sneaking inside the top 10.
Okay, Pacheco angry running his way to lead off the list here. Let's head to number 9.
Yeah, this one is a fan favorite here, man. This guy stole the show for a few weeks last year and then kind of unfortunately dealt with some injury. That is Devon Achane, who might be one of the riskiest picks in this draft just simply because of his injury history and the potential to get injured here. He's being drafted RB 10 this year. This guy was in like 4 games or 5 games played last year by the midpoint. He was like still like late in the season, he was still like a top 5 in rushing yards throughout the season, like at one point. So the point is the guy was running at a stupidly efficient rate, and like I mentioned, stole the show last season. Mike McDaniel, I think, is going to run the ball even more this season. Devon Achane, obviously, I think that the thing that's to be weary here, Devon Achane's a potential league winner. Let's just put that out there for starters. The thing to be weary of Devon Achane is A, the injuries, but then B, also it's a really good running back room over there in Miami. So although they're going to run the ball a lot, like Raheem Mostert just got re-upped on a deal. Like he's going to get work, right? They got Jeff Wilson over there as well. I mean, who might get a couple touches as well. But Devon Achane, you're going to need him to be efficient with his carries once again. Not as efficient as last year. That's just not that's just not possible to be that efficient again. But yeah, I think this is a guy who's going to continue to do damage on the ground. He's going to get even more of a workload this year, get in the end zone, and he's obviously just an electric factory. Like this guy is Tyreek Hill at the running back position. He's a threat to score any single time he touches the ball. So he's a ton of fun to watch. I think he ends up, just due to the usage and maybe him splitting some carries and stuff like that, I think he's going to end up 9 overall. But this is a guy who, like, by season's end, if he told me like he's number 2, like I'm not going to be shocked.
Okay, breakaway speed at the number 9 spot here with Devon Achane. Let's move to number 8 here, Josh.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a lengthy explanation on HN, so I'll try to pick it up here on the rest of these guys. But we're going to check in at your guide, Mr. Derrick Henry, Bryce, running back for the Baltimore Ravens, who is obviously making his debut in a jersey other than the Tennessee Titans, and he's being drafted at RB9 this season. This is a guy who's finished top 5 in 4 of the last 5 seasons at the position, and he's 30 years old. So what? I'm riding with Derrick Henry until the wheels fall off here. This guy's going to finish inside the top 10. He's a bona fide, top 10, top 5 running back at this point. But only question that I have with him this season is his usage. It's not going to be what he got in Tennessee, A, because of age, and B, because I think the Baltimore Ravens just want to preserve him so that he can do his real damage when it matters most in the playoffs. So I think they're going to kind of maybe hold him back just a touch and then really unleash him as the season kind of draws on. But I think he could and should make up for it in the touchdowns that he's going to get as far as that decrease in usage. But this is a good offense that he's going to be in. But yeah, Derrick Henry, I think 8th overall, obviously it might be disappointment for some people, but he's being drafted at RB9. And so if he finishes RB8 at 30 years old, I mean, tough to complain about that.
Yeah, by far the best running back that Lamar Jackson has played with in his NFL career, and a big hole for the Ravens, having a star RB1 with all the injuries to Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins over the years. Let's move to number 7 here.
Yeah, Derrick Henry is not a guy who is, unless he gets like a fractured, whatever that was in his foot, he like had a broken foot or something like that a few years ago or whatever it was. Yeah, unless it's that, I mean, Derrick Henry's not the one getting hurt. He's the one hurting people. So that's why we're riding with him until the wheels fall off. Checking in at number, what are we at? 6 here?
7 here.
7, sorry. Yeah, sorry. 7. Jonathan Taylor, running back, Indianapolis Colts, who is being drafted as RB4. And listen, I'm a big fan of Jonathan Taylor this year. He is fully healthy, and AR-15 Anthony Richardson is as well. These guys, I think, only played like 4 quarters or something like that on the field together last year. Between Jonathan Taylor's injury and Anthony Richardson's finally his season-ending injury, it's going to be a ton of fun to watch. Like, it's very reminiscent of Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, what they got over there in Baltimore. And so this is going to be a good offense. I'm bullish on the Indianapolis Colts offense this season. I think Indianapolis is going to be really good. And again, you want good players on good offenses. Jonathan Taylor is that, and he's going to continue to get that workhorse role. Him being healthy is huge. I think he's going to return to, I don't have him finishing inside the top 5 as far as fantasy goes this year, but I think he might return to that top 5 running back kind of in the NFL conversation this year by season's end. I'm big. I think this is a big year for Jonathan Taylor. So he's checking in at number 7 for us.
Okay, from JT at number 7, where are we going at number 6?
Yeah, another guy who I think kind of caught people by surprise a little bit last year here. Travis Etienne, running back for Jacksonville Jaguars, being drafted as RB8 this year. He finished as the RB2 last year. This guy was quietly just kind of did his thing. He kind of tailed off, and I think the reason why he was quiet was because he was kind of doing a lot of damage early in the season to the midpoint of the season, and then as the season drew on, he actually got quiet, and his numbers from early in the season just kind of carried him the rest of the season. But anyways, there's actually talks of Travis Etienne being more involved in the passing game this year, and this is a guy who is a very capable catcher, but there's even more talks of him being used as more of like a Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, whatever kind of you want to use him, want to call him. But so I think he's going to add to his catching total this season. I think Jacksonville is going to be a middling offense kind of thing this year, maybe slightly above average offense with Trevor Lawrence obviously just getting paid this year. So I'm looking forward to what Travis Etienne is going to bring to the table this year. I think he's going to have another rock solid season. Again, this is another guy with a situation similar to some of these top backs where it's like he's going to get a lot of usage and there's not really a lot behind him on the depth chart. Like Tank Bigsby is behind him, and I can't really imagine myself being too worried about Tank Bigsby. So we're going to ride with Travis Etienne here, finishing just outside the top 5 this season.
Okay, and now we're into that top five, Josh. Who's leading this thing off?
Alrighty, we got Kyron Williams, man, Los Angeles Rams stud running back here, and this is a guy once again kind of similar to Achan. You just worry about a little bit about injury, but you got to assume this guy's playing all 17, and if he is, I mean, he's being drafted RB7 right now. There are a few guys in the NFL that get the workhorse, the bell cow role like this guy, man. He will rival a Christian McCaffrey as far as week to week usage and point production, and he's efficient. He's in a good offense. The problem is like it is his injury history, and it's also the fragility of the entire Los Angeles Rams offense because we already saw Puka Nacua is dealing with something. We know Cooper Kupp's injury history. Matt Stafford we know his injury history, and he's already dealing with something as well this offseason. So it's like Matt Stafford goes down, that changes the outlook for Kyron Williams big time, right? And so that's the one thing to be concerned about. But again, we got to do these assuming that these guys are all healthy. And so with that being said, Kyron Williams, he's just going to get that workhorse role and check in at number 5 here.
Okay, so Sean McVay loves to go to Kyron Williams. He's going to be our number 5 RB this year. Let's move to number 4.
Yeah, and on that note, actually, just to finish that last thought on that, actually, Blake Corum is obviously a point of a talking point for a lot of people, but I just I don't see him like he's gonna spell him a little bit, but I just don't see Blake Corum factoring in unless there is a true Kyron injury at some point and they want to be cautious with him. Chucking in at number 4 here, we got Bijan Robinson, running back for the Atlanta Falcons. A lot to be excited about this season for Bijan. Being drafted at RB2 on Sleeper here. Again, just lots to be excited. Like this is a guy, again, kind of similar. You want to talk about the Achan where it's like it's a different way that he obviously, navigates the field. He's not just pure speed, but this is a guy like Achan where he's a home run threat anytime he touches the ball. He's got the threat to score every single time. Obviously puts guys on skates seemingly every single play, which is a ton of fun to watch. But Bijan is going to put up what feels like video game numbers at some points this season. I think anyways, he looks like a video game out there when you're watching him. The only cause for concern with Bijan and why some people are kind of backing away and becoming weary of him now is the fact that Tyler Algier, there's more talks about Tyler Algier being used more in that offense. Maybe not just necessarily as a Blake Corum to Kyron Williams and spell him when you need him. It's more of he's actually going to have a role in the offense. So a lot of people are a little weary, but I don't know if I'm buying it too much. I like Bijan finishing comfortably inside the top 5 here at 4.
Okay, and now we're into our top 3 here, Josh.
Yes, man, these blinds got me. The sun's setting real quick here. I got the shades going on here, just on my face. Anyways, we're going here number 3, Saquon Barkley. Man, I've been high on this Philadelphia Eagles this offseason, as evident by the rankings that we've had here. We had Jalen Hurts, number 1 quarterback, A.J. Brown, number 2 wide receiver, Saquon Barkley at the number 3 running back. We have him finishing here, being drafted as RB6 here. Listen, Saquon, we know what he's capable of. You just got a new deal. You think he's not happy to be just behind a competent offensive line now and in a good offense and a better situation with winning football that he's going to be playing. Eagles are going to be good this season, man. And Saquon Barkley is going to be used a ton, and he's going to be used a ton as like that Christian McCaffrey catching the ball out of the backfield, all that stuff. He's going to get a ton of work, and he's behind an awesome offensive line now. He's going to score a ton of touchdowns. There's a lot to love about Saquon this season. And I actually was at one point in this offseason, I was like, you know what? I don't know if Saquon's going to end up being great just because Jalen Hurts maybe will steal a lot of touchdowns or whatever the deal was. We'll see. I do think there was it was a running joke last year that, now I'm almost forgetting his name. I don't know if it wasn't Kenneth Gainwell, but the other running back in Philadelphia there, but he was getting the Philadelphia Eagles down to the 1 yard line seemingly every single, DeAndre Swift. He was getting down to the Eagles down to the 1 yard line, it felt like every single drive, and then Jalen Hurts would just push his way in to 15 rushing touchdowns. Well, Saquon Barkley, you'd like to believe, is not going to be the guy to get down on the 1 yard line. I think we're going to see him actually punch in more of these, so I like Saquon Barkley here at number 3.
Okay, so Saquon is off that haunted MetLife turf and into our top 3 here. Who are the last two guys here, Josh?
Yeah, so last two guys that we are going here. Christian McCaffrey, who is being drafted as the RB1 and was the RB1 last year. There are a few guys who rival Christian McCaffrey on a week-to-week basis as far as just workload and as far as their efficiency and their point production. I think that's enough said about Christian McCaffrey. We know what he's about, and we know that his usage. The cause for concern this year, of course, is that he's already got a calf strain, and I know when injuries pop up kind of in the OTAs, like more in the middle of the summer, that's kind of, for me, I'm not as weary, but when we have like soft tissue injuries that are popping up in training camp, that's when I start to get just a little bit of a yellow flag kind of pops up for me. So then I kind of tend to start avoiding those players a little bit. I'm just more of like a conservative player like that, drafter anyways. But anyways, Christian McCaffrey, you'd like to believe he's going to heal fully. And if he does, he's almost second to none. Of course, this year he's second to one, in my opinion, but almost second to none as far as his point production.
Okay, and who is he second to one this year, Josh?
Yeah, man. There's going to be a lot of people watching might say, hey, you haven't mentioned Jahmyr Gibbs yet, and you haven't mentioned Breece Hall. Well, Jahmyr Gibbs, I don't have finishing in the top 10 this year. That's kind of my hot take, and I'll explain in just a second. But our number one guy here this year finishing is Breece Hall, man, being drafted at RB3. Aaron Rodgers is back. That offensive line has improved. The weapons on the outside to keep the defense honest. The defense on the New York Jets is obviously going to get them the ball back a ton. Jets are going to play a lot of winning football. It's going to be a good offense. Breece Hall, there's a ton to like here. And this offense, even though you got an Aaron Rodgers also on the offense there at the helm, this offense is running through Breece Hall. We're going to look at the futures bets. We're locking in some of our futures bets still here, Bryce, and Breece Hall might be a big one on that futures bet episode for us as far as a lot of overs, depending on what his lines are at. So yeah, we'll keep an eye out for that one, folks. But yeah, Breece Hall, as far as his production here, he's going to get that heavy workload, the bell cow role. This offense is running through him. He's going to score a ton. He's going to rack up a ton of yards. Big fan of Breece Hall this season. And sorry, I'll just wrap up with the Jahmyr Gibbs. Sorry, the Jahmyr Gibbs not making the top 10. The only reason is because Jahmyr Gibbs is already is said to have been dealing with a soft tissue injury. I believe it is his hamstring that he's dealing with. I don't like that, like at all. And those are the ones that typically you have a hamstring injury. You see, especially to the running back or the wide receiver position, the hamstring injuries. Those are the ones where it's like you see it, and by week 4, 5, 6, people are going, "What's wrong with this guy?" And it's like, well, he had the hamstring injury in the offseason and probably isn't fully recovered. Now, Jahmyr Gibbs might fully recover, and he might, and if he does, and he's fully healthy to start the season, this guy he probably will finish top 10. Let's be real here, but he's just, again, too electric. But I just think that based on the injury that we've already seen here, I think that's going to hinder him enough to keep him outside of the top 10 this season.
Okay, so there's your top 10 RBs for 2024. Breece Hall at the 1, CMC at the 2, Saquon at the 3, Bijan at the 4, Kyron Williams at the 5, Travis Etienne at the 6, Jonathan Taylor at the 7, Derrick Henry at the 8, Devon Achane at the 9, and Isaiah Pacheco rounds it out at the 10. Josh, a great list here. Hopefully the viewers can take a look at this list, see where there's value, and it can help them out in their draft season here. It's a pretty valuable position, maybe the most valuable position.
Yeah, man. No, I'm a big running back guy. I'm a running back over wide receiver guy myself. I personally do tend to favor the running backs in the draft. Running backs are obviously important. I hope some people can just find a little bit of value. At very least, it's thought provoking, right? That's what these videos are for. Just gets people thinking a little bit of engagement. Hopefully, would be nice. We'll see if the folks. Feel free to drop a comment, folks. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. We obviously got. I guess this is our last video in the fantasy week. But
futures next, yeah.
We got futures bets coming up, folks. So if you made it this long in the video, appreciate you. And the futures bets are coming. Showtime.
Hey, folks, we'll see you in the futures. This is where we make our money. Let's do it. We did it last year. We'll do it again.
Yeah,
okay, thanks for tuning in, folks. We'll see you next time.